Day 64 of my reset taught me something I wasn't expecting. It started with a few broken tiles, a few repairs around my home that I'd been meaning to fix for years. It wasn't anything like huge, nothing urgent really, just things I'd gotten used to when I walked past. So every time I saw them, I'd think, Merle, you really need to sort those things out. And then I just carry on, move on with my day. And then eventually, I stopped having that thought altogether. And it wasn't that the tiles were fixed. That hadn't changed. What had changed was me. I'd adopted to them. And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. And that's when I realized something. Our environment doesn't just reflect us, they train us. So whatever we are around for long enough starts to feel acceptable. And it's not because it's acceptable, but because we've adapted to it. The clutter, the unfinished project, the relationships that drain us, the habit that no longer serves us, the way we actually speak to ourselves, the conversation that we've been avoiding, the standard that we've lowered, the relationships that we've outgrown, the things that we keep saying that we actually need to deal with someday. And at first, we notice it, and then we just tolerate it. And then eventually, we actually stop questioning it. It becomes the way things are. But that doesn't mean it's the way things have to be. And currently, I'm in the 90-day reset that I'm leading. And we talk about environments, but we talk about environments differently. So when most people think about environments, they think it means their house, their desk, their office, their neighborhood, their surroundings. And of course, that's part of environment as well. But what I've come to know is that there are three different environments that are shaping our lives every single day. We have the physical environment, we have our mental environment, and we have our spiritual environment. Now, the physical environment is where our surroundings, that's what our surroundings are. And then the mental environment is what we tell ourselves. These are our thoughts, our beliefs, our standards. These are the stories that we repeat to ourselves often that we actually start thinking that's true. And this is where my work, Thought Architecture, lives, because every result in our life first starts here. Our relationship starts here. Our confidence starts here. Boundaries, money, before they exist in the physical, world, they exist in our mental world. Then there is our spiritual environment, and that involves our faith, our connection to something bigger than the circumstances, our inner knowing, our sense of purpose. And when that environment is off or it's disconnected, then everything becomes more difficult than it needs to be. And this is what I've noticed. Most people try to change the physical environment first. So what they would do is they would clean up the house, they would buy the planner, they would create the vision board, they would start a new routine. Have you heard of those New Year's resolution where you start excited for the first couple weeks? And of course, it works for a while. And then somehow they drift back. And it's not because they failed, but because the physical environment bends towards the inner blueprint that they've created. So the outer world keeps revealing what's happening in our inner world. And with that realization, it begs me to ask the question. And the question isn't what I have stopped seeing, but the real question is, what am I building? Because whether we're intentional about it or not, we're building something. We're all building something. We're building through our habits. We're building through our standards. We're building through our relationships. We're building through the way in which we spend our time. We're building through the way in which we think. Even when we're not paying attention, even when we're not deciding, we're still building. If someone looked in my life or looked at your life today, what would that blueprint show that you're building? And it's not what you say you want. It's not what you've put on your vision board. What is the evidence is that you're actually building shows up in your life. And what would that evidence say? And that thought and that question actually just made me think for a long time today, because there can be a gap between what we're declaring and what we're constructing. We can make plans, of course. We can have the best intentions. We can tell ourselves where we're going, but eventually the structure appears. So the question that I'm sitting with today is, on day 64, is what are you actually building? Not what you're hoping for, not what you're planning, not what you're talking about, but what it is that you're actually building in your life right now. The blueprint always tells the truth. So if someone were to look at your life today like they did a blueprint, what would it show that is being built? Leave me in the comments and let me know what it is that's being built. And I'll see you on the next video.